There have been systematic and scientifically recorded instances in which changing the wording of a question while essentially maintaining its original meaning can change responses to that question. In our study, we want to see if this effect exists in responses to essentially the same question but with different wording pertaining to matters of public policy. To determine the effect of negative wording on survey response, we examined the response data of several major news sources and polling centers. These sources include Gallup, the Pew Center, as well as newspapers such as the New York Times. These surveys interviewed a large sample size of random Americans and asked them several questions. One of these questions is, should the United States remove Saddam Hussein from power using military force? To test the effect of negative wording, these newspapers asked a different random sample size of Americans the same question, but with the possibility of casualties. For example, should the United States remove Saddam Hussein from power using military force, bearing in mind that this will mean American casualties? These questions both asked essentially the same thing, and after all, military reality is that there will be casualties in war, and this will mean American deaths regardless of whether it is in the question or not. Yet, when we do side-by-side comparisons of the responses to the questions, we see decreases in enthusiasm once there is the possibility of casualties raised of up to 50%. To test whether this is statistically significant or not, we used a test called the t-test to test for the difference in data's statistical significance. After performing this test, we found that the t-value was 4.48, and the chances of the casualty of the response difference being due to chance is quite low. The numerical difference, along with the low likelihood of the randomness of the difference, indicates that there is a strong indication that negative wording has a effect on response data to essentially the same question.